Like, I have this piece in Flagstaff. Well, I don't know if I really have it because
Yeah, what's going on there?
it's not paid off yet. The note is due in about 6 months. And they keep asking your dad, and he's like, I'm not going to make a plan till blah. And then it's like, I'm not going to make a plan till blah. Christine had her house. Meri has built a business, but she didn't use family money. She built that herself. So she and I are both like, this represents basically the only asset we would be taking from the marriage.
Hi, friends. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Yesterday, we talked about how Meri and Janelle were able to finally settle their dispute with Kody and Robyn about Coyote Pass. And the property has now been divided, each one of them holding 25% of the total property. Kody and Robyn's shares are 50% because they're a married couple, but it's each one of them have a 25% share. Now, I stated that this was actually a really good deal for Meri and Janelle because prior to this, neither one of them were going to be walking away with a minimum of 25%, right? Meri by far was going to be the most screwed if this didn't get changed. And this is a good deal for them, but I noticed that Kody and Robyn did something that ultimately, I don't know if they did this intentionally. Well, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. But they made a decision in how they held the property. And their decision in how they held the property is kind of a power play for them. And I think it's just another way for Kody to try to have a leg up in the situation. That's my opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong. But the way that the property is divided, while each one of them technically owns 25%, Kody and Robyn are the majority owners on two of the parcels because they own it as a married couple. But the way that they decided to be owners on it made it even more complicated because they chose to sign the deed with what's called community property with rights of survivorship. Okay. So they made a decision that they would be owning this as community property. And with rights of survivorship, what that means is if Kody dies, Robyn would inherit Kody's share automatically without having to go through probate. Equally, if Robyn dies, Kody would then own Robyn's shares without going through probate court. If they didn't have this and one of them were to die, and I don't know why they needed to do it this way because ultimately it's not like they're going to hold on to this land for a long time. But if neither one of them are to die, basically what it gives them is a shield. And it's a shield from anyone else outside of the two of them from making a claim on the rights of survivorship or the inheritance. So this means that none of Kody's kids outside of anyone or any of his exes can come for this as property. So this inheritance would be shielded from Truly or from Christine or from his children that are outside of Robyn's kids. It also gives Kody and Robyn more power because they collectively hold 50% and Janelle and Meri each only hold 25%. If they were just planning to sell this quickly, what they're doing here doesn't make sense, okay? Because it's unnecessary. They don't need to have a right of survivorship if the plan is once we divide all this, we're going to put it on the market, okay? What this gives Kody is more control because Kody and Robyn now have a 50% stake in this claim, okay? And so their unit is one vote, but it's 50%, meaning they have more say in how the price of this is set, when the goes to market. They have to negotiate and work with Kody and Robyn as a unit, and each one of them, Janelle and Meri, are independent, which they need to stick together. What I also don't like about this is that what this signals to me and to everyone is that even in the way that they're dividing this property, Kody is choosing his favorite. Okay. So he's saying that even if he dies, he doesn't want his share to be equally divided amongst the other remaining members. So theoretically, if they just were like tenants in common and they make an agreement legally that if one of the parties dies, then the remaining portion of the property can get divided among the other three owners. But in this case, and that would have to be a document that would be drafted legally, and we don't know if that something like that exists, but it could, right? But in this case, what it's saying is that if Kody dies, Robyn gets his shares and nobody else. No one. So it's like, I'm still going to find a way to slightly screw you in the event that something happens to me. Robyn's going to be more protected than you two. You're not going to get my share if I die. It's kind of just like, to me, a way for Kody to sort of stick his middle finger. Like, okay, so if I'm going to, and this is just my opinion, if I'm going to have to share this with you, I'm going to at least make sure that Robyn is protected more than you. It also protects Robyn from having to deal with Kody's other kids, children, or ex-wives. So what I don't like about this too is that he's got a minor daughter, and if Kody and Robyn, and if say Christine wanted to come back and like place a lien on something, she can't go after this property because they own it as its own community property with rights of survivorship. So like Truly can't come for this property. Christine can't come for this property. His other kids can't come for this property. It really is, in a way, stating this is my choice. Robyn is my choice. And that's fine, right? It's fine. But it just further proves that Kody doesn't view anyone outside of Robyn as his family. He doesn't view his other children outside of his family. It could be that Kody needed to pledge allegiance to Robyn or something. I don't know. But long term, like, this wasn't necessary. They didn't need to do this. And I just feel like it was a way for them to do a power play. So, an interesting part of this, outside of the community rights of survivorship, the community property, is that the way that they own the property is an undivided interest. So Kody and Robyn get 50%, Janelle gets 25, and Meri gets 25. So it basically means that they all are co-owners on this property, but each one of them has a percentage of what their stake is in the overall property. So Janelle's is 25%, Meri's is 25%, Kody's is 50, meaning when they sell, Kody and Robyn get 50, Janelle gets 25, Meri gets 25. But because it's an undivided interest, this is the wild. They can't sell their property, right? They can't sell the property. They don't own a 25% chunk of the property. They don't have a 25, if it's 2 acres, it's not like they have this tiny, I don't know, 0.2, 0.5 chunk of that acreage that's theirs that no one else can use. That's not how it works. But they can sell their stake. So say Janelle wants out, and she's like, I want you to pay me out. Well, then Janelle can sell her stake to someone and say it's an outside party. So a third party that doesn't know them could come in. Equally, if Kody and Robyn decided, I want out, I need the money here, I need the money now, some third party could come in that they don't know, right? So Kody could be like, I'm going to sell it to Brian Colwell. And then Brian becomes the 50% owner. It's so weird that, I mean, I understand on paper why they did this, because I'm sure they want to make sure that it's clear that when the property is sold, it's equal, or it's not equal. They know the amount of money they're going to get, right? Truthfully, I think what they should have done, this is just my opinion, is they should have just set up an LLC. They should have set up an LLC where they're all on the LLC. And then Kody and Robyn hold 50% of the LLC. Janelle and Meri each own 25%. And then there's no issues about inheritance. There's no issues about marriage. It's clear in terms of how decisions are making, costs, sales. It avoids all the income and the taxes and all of that stuff. Like, it avoids so many issues if it would have been set up as like an LLC. And a lot of people set up like rental properties this way, or land. Like, previous owners of this land held it in an LLC. I don't know why they wouldn't go that way, but another way that could have made it easier is if they owned it all as tenants in common, meaning that instead of Kody and Robyn owning it with rights of survivorship, they would each still own their percentage. If someone would die, the share goes to their heirs or chosen beneficiaries, not automatically to a spouse. Everyone has a say in what happens with their portion rather than Robyn automatically inheriting half of the land if Kody dies. Because if Kody were to die right now, Robyn would be way more powerful than Janelle and Meri. And then there's the obvious problem for me is why do Kody and Robyn get treated as a separate entity if they don't want to be, right? With the way that they sign it of community rights with rights of survivorship, they're basically saying, okay, yes, we're a married couple, but if one of us dies, we're not a married couple, we're an individual and we get the whole chunk, right? So what bothers me is if on the one hand they want to say we're a married couple, on the other hand they want to say but if I die, she gets it all, right? So if they want to be the unit, why not just own it a third? Because I highly doubt when it came to pay off the property that Robyn came up with a fourth. And I can't say that for fact, but it feels like Kody would be the kind of person that would say, no, not everyone's paying equally. I'm the one that pays. Kody never talks about Robyn paying for anything, right? He always says it's his money. So did Robyn really contribute 25%? The only way that this is set up is fair is if everyone that paid on this land paid the same amount, the money came out of the same account, and the money was the same when they did the payoff. So if the payoff was split off by 4, it would have been 4, then this would be fair. It's just such a stupid way for Kody and Robyn to have more control. It's a stupid way for Robyn to assert that she's still the queen bee. It's a stupid way for Kody to remind Janelle and Meri that Robyn is the queen bee. So even in the fact that Janelle and Meri are ultimately getting something from them, they're also being reminded that they're less than. Does that make sense? So Kody and Robyn don't get to walk away with as much money, right? But they're still using this as a way to say, yeah, but you'll get the money, but you're still not better than us. It just feels really narcissistic. And listen, I looked at different real estate options for holding property when I saw that this is how they were holding it. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Aren't they just going to turn around and sell? I know there's some people on social media that now assume that they're going to build something altogether. I don't see that at all. I don't view this as they're doing this because they're going to build. I view this as they're doing this because they're going to sell. Now, if Kody and Robyn needed to liquidate, this would give them an easier way to liquidate. Someone could buy their shares out. So Janelle could buy out their shares. Meri could buy out their shares. And then the timing of it is another issue that I'm like, why did this happen? Why did they make this agreement in September at the same time that they were getting ready to sell their other house? Was there some reason that this agreement happened then? Was the tax liability being used against Kody's loan to value? Did he need less legal, like tax liability, or did he need less insurance liability to bring down the DTI? Because there was no loan out against it, right? But they still had to pay taxes. So if there was a monthly amount that they were deducting off the total taxes, is this why he did it this way? So that like the division of how much money is spent looks like he's paying less? It just seems like it's a weird time to one, divide all of this, but then also put their house on the market, unless the agreement between them all was they were going to try to get this solidified in September, right? And then the sale of Coyote Pass and then the sale of their home would all go through, and then everything, all of the obligations, all of the money that's, been tied up between all 4 of them, all of it would be done, and they could all have clean hands and walk away. I don't know. And I said that yesterday. I don't know. What I don't love is that, technically speaking, the way that Kody and Robyn are doing this gives them more control. It shields them from any of his other exes making a claim or his kids. It protects him and his properties from Christine making a claim for Truly. It's just, I'm trying to imagine what it would feel like to be one of his kids, to know that this is how he thinks of you. Like, you're only my child, like in name. You're not really my heir. My only heirs are Robyn and her kids. I'm not from a divorced family. I haven't actually gone through inheritance myself. I frankly don't care about inheritance, but this is something they always talk about. And because they always talk about it, I just wonder how that makes the other family members feel. I wonder how this even would make Christine feel, knowing that this is all happening and then she has to fight him for child support. This is the complicated part of, polygamy that's really aggravating for the women that don't have a legal marriage. And for Janelle and Meri, because they legally were not Kody's wives, technically speaking, even in their departure, Robyn still has more control. And that's just the part that I don't like. It's like, even in this division, they couldn't just be equal. They had to have more power, had to have more control. But at least they got their shares, right? So, silver lining? What are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.